Hello, I'm Luke Hatfield. You join me and Wolves correspondent Joe Edwards. It's Derby Day tomorrow,
Yeah.
Joe. It's a big game. Wolves versus Aston Villa. You've been speaking to Nuno via Zoom as always. How is he? How was Wolves? Are they looking forward to it?
Yeah, I think they're in a good mood, and obviously it was a difficult game, wasn't it? At Liverpool, there's now getting away from that, but they've had a good boost in the week, and seeing Raul Jimenez and getting him down to Compton and being able to give him a hug and have a nice chat with him and just kind of came as it would have come as an overwhelming relief for the players because having been at Arsenal and seen the incident at the time, and sure everybody watching at home as well would have just been, really worried about him, and that was the case for a good amount of time. So for the players to see him and see him smiling and see him happy and see him as the same Raul Jimenez that he was really before his injury. Of course, he's not fit enough to play yet, and he won't be for a while. But he's the same Raul that they know, the same kind of nice guy and things like that. So to see him and to see him in good spirits will have undoubtedly given the players a big lift for this game, which is of course a massive game, and they'll be looking to right the wrongs of Liverpool, and fingers crossed they can do.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those games you don't often need lifting for, but no fans. It's one of those where maybe that will provide Wolves with a little bit of an edge. Add to the fact that Nuno's got a great record bouncing back from performances like the one against Liverpool. It wasn't a good day for them. Did you get any inkling as to whether he's going to stick with the four at the back, go three at the back? Because I think there's still questions about that four at the back, especially defensively, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. I think it's. I think it really is a toss of a coin, really, as to what he kind of goes with. There was a little thing that he did say in the press conference, which I might be reading into a little bit too much. But he was kind of saying that we've got to make the most of when we have the ball. We've got to make sure that we're compact and that we're organised, and then when we have possession, make sure we make use of it with our talented players. And I know those are kind of things that you will kind of say generally, but if you're reading into it a little bit, maybe that suggests being a bit more solid, being a bit more compact in that defensive free, if you like, and then looking to kind of get exposed Villa on the counter. And another little interesting tidbit that he said was he was asked about Theo Corbiano, one of the young players, young striker. He was the 19th man at Anfield, and Nuno said he won't be involved tomorrow. So you'd think, well, if Fabio Silva was starting, then maybe you'd have Theo Corbiano on the bench as the backup striker. So again, might be reading too much into both of those things, but there were interesting little tidbits and perhaps arguments to switching back to a back three and the more tried and trusted system of Nuno. Equally, we could see a four. I mean, we've saw a lot of different changes and tweaks from Nuno recently, but hopefully either way, whatever he goes for in the end works.
Yeah, that's a big question, isn't it? I mean, Raul Jimenez, obviously, such a great guy and such a big, important part of that Wolves team. Not having him available is a blow for Wolves. I mean, regardless of the situation, that might give Villa a little bit of a boost. But the question is, how does Nuno deal with that? Because against Liverpool, they looked a bit toothless, to be honest, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's they've got to find the answer, and I've said it in a few times, but I do think the midfield has got to contribute a little bit more, and you'd hope the midfield players can really step up to the play, really, in games like this where there's going to be a bit of bite in the middle of the park, a bit of pressing, firm challenges, and you want to see the likes of Dendoncker, Neves, if he's playing, Matinho, step up in that regard. Of course, we know about Villa's midfielder, well, Jack Grealish tends to come in off the left, doesn't he now? But I think that is a big area going into this game. I think it could be where the game is won or lost, to be honest. Wolves have, of course, coming off the back of conceding 4 at Liverpool, but apart from that and West Ham, generally they've been pretty defensively sound. They've got the best home defensive record in the Premier League, actually. They've only conceded 5 at Molineux so far. Goals, of course, have been a problem. But I think there is an onus on the players behind those front players to create more chances and to score more goals. We haven't seen a goal from anybody in the Wolves midfield yet, and you've got to think that's got to change sooner rather than later. So hopefully we see Dendoncker, like he did at Villa Park, perhaps at the end of last season, step up in that regard and get an important goal.
Yeah, it would be handy for Wolves, wouldn't it? I mean, looking at Villa, it's a very different side almost to the one which Wolves came up against last season. They'll back themselves to, and obviously they've shown to be an improved side this season. That's going to be the challenge for Wolves, isn't it? Finding a way to stop a team. And admittedly, Villa have had inconsistent results. But is it a game where you think a draw might suit them?
I think it's a difficult one, Matt. It's Wolves have got a tough run of fixtures this month, and it was a hard start with Liverpool. Of course, Villa is a very tough game, but you've got Chelsea to come, you've got Tottenham to come, you've got Burnley away, which may seem like a game that they should win, but it's never a giving up at Turf Moor. And then Manchester United away to kind of end the year. So it's a very tough month, and while most people probably would take a draw, there is very much an onus on getting wins wherever you can this month for Wolves. And make no mistake, it's going to be tough. Villa, as you say, are a different prospect these days. They're scoring more goals. They look more a cohesive unit. I think defensively they're a lot better. They've got a better keeper between the sticks these days. And Wolves are without key players. Jimenez is the star really of this Wolves team. Johnny, of course, remains out, even though he's making good progress. And again, we keep going back to it, but they're still adjusting after the sales of Doherty and Jota over the summer. So it's an interesting matchup, and I think both teams are very similar in that they haven't really been that consistent. They've had some good performances. Villa have had some real kind of blow-away performances, but then they've had some poor results as well, and they're both in a very similar boat. So as well as getting the bragging rights from this game, I think it's a real good indicator, not for just Wolves, but for Villa as well, as to where they are and what they can actually kind of go on to achieve this season, and hopefully coming out of it, as we keep saying, from a Wolves persuasion, that they come out feeling good about themselves and able to do something this season. Yeah,
a really intriguing game, Joe. Give me your match prediction to finish the video off. Go on.
It's going to be tight. I'm backing Wolves to win it by 1, so I'm going to go 2-1. It'd be lovely to, as I say, get one of those midfielders off the mark, or maybe even an Adama Traore off the mark. Of course, this is a game that, being at ex-Villa, and he didn't really go to plan for Adama at Villa, did it? So this will be a game that he'll be eager to get off the mark in and really start to show what he's about again. And we saw fits and starts of it so far this season with Adama. We've seen flashes here and there, but not to the level that he was last season. The kind of constant force that was just constantly being felled, and that was the only way you could stop him. And if you didn't, he's not been that match winner for Wolves yet. So again, I think the midfielders have got to step up. Maybe Adama steps up as well, and hopefully that bodes well.
Should be an intriguing game, Joe. Right, you know where to go for all your Derby Day coverage, expressandstar.com.